professional wrestler. My character is the Deacon of Doom.
I think as a Christian minister, there's always God work going on.
My name is Reverend Brian Diggs. I am an ordained United Methodist pastor in the Rocky Mountain Conference of the United Methodist Church. What I'm trying to do is to show that you can be a fun person and be a religious person. I have several props. My first prop was, I called it the Book of Doom, which is kind of like the Deacon's Bible. And I would open it up and a reading from the book of First Concussions or Second Lacerations. I always introduce myself, ladies and gentlemen, and now for the event you've all been waiting for. Tonight, the Deacon weighs in at a heavenly 186 3/4 pounds of body, sculpted by the angels of heaven. I am the Deacon of, and I hold the mic up and they all shout out, Doom, and of course they boo me after that.
Nobody except...
I went through a divorce. I'd always been a pro wrestling fan. I was gonna do one match, kind of a bucket list kind of thing, hang the boots up and say I did it. Then I had my first match and I realized that this was something that I loved. Not just the action in the ring or the character development and the entertainment, but I really love the camaraderie with my wrestling buddies as well.
Deacon, he's a good guy. He's he shows you the right way. He keeps you on the right path.
I know that I would love to go and, see Deacon, preach and do what he does outside of the wrestling ring,
And when those people in John chapter 6 finally found the Jesus they were looking for, they were more surprised than they ever could have been.
Everybody within the congregations that I've preached at or served here in Utah, they find it, for the most part, pretty hilarious.
You talked about Jesus and I loved it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I love that.
As a preacher, he was fabulous. Very inspiring sermon. You don't expect it, a pastor to be a professional wrestler. Maybe a bird watcher or a beekeeper, but not a wrestler.
I haven't had anybody come up to me and say, this is un-Christian, or you shouldn't be doing this, or pastors don't do this kind of thing. Generally, folks think it's kind of a fun hobby, and in fact, many church people have come to watch me wrestle.
I think professional wrestling is a legitimate form of theater and entertainment, and so I'm cool with it.
I don't really try to evangelize with pro wrestling, at least not in the traditional sense of evangelization.
Love your Facebook post, brother. Thank you. I was just talking to one of my friends here who works here at UCW, and he actually Facebooked me and said, hey man, I've been thinking about going to church, or where should I go?
I've gone to the hospital and visited and prayed with fans. I think of one man who's a veteran. He's in his 80s, and he was in the hospital, pretty serious condition, and his family, who comes to all the wrestling shows, and so does he, visited with him, had a prayer with him. It was the day of the show, and he said that he had told the doctors that he would not be in the hospital today, that he was leaving whether they liked it or not. And sure enough, that night, Mr. Westerfield was in the crowd, booing me like he always does. I think one of the things that I'm most proud of to be a United Methodist is our history with, besides potlucks, is our history with service. Wesley said the world is our parish, and we're going to reach out to all kinds of people all over the world, doing all the good we can to all the people we can, as John Wesley said. But one of the things that I think is so important for Christians in general is to be friends with non-Christian people, or people who don't profess to be a part of any, quote, organized religion. One of the things I always say is that the wrong question to be asking is, how do we make Jesus relevant to people? In fact, I think we should turn that upside down, and we should say, how do we make ourselves relevant to Jesus? Scripturally speaking, Jesus didn't walk up and hand out tracts, here are the 5 spiritual pathways to have a more successful you as long as I'm in your life. He said to his disciples, drop your nets, follow me, I'll make you fish for people.
Bow your head. Let's pray. Gracious God, we thank you for this evening.
He gathered a community of people together who followed him, who left their old life, and who were transformed by his grace.
Get ready to rock and roll. I'm going to turn on the stage lights.
And I'll be the champion that God has called me to be.
This video was brought to you by the people of the United Methodist Church through World Service donations.